Hi everyone, Jessica Paquette, joined here with Ramon Moya, who of course you know from the jockey colony here at Parks, but really you might know him from TikTok. Now your TikTok has taken off. Tell me how many followers and how it's exploded.
You know, I made a video the other day saying, I think I had like 95,000 at the time I made the video. And I said, once I hit 100,000, I want to do some sort of giveaway or, you know, something to give back to one of my followers. And I asked them for suggestions, and people are throwing everything from helmets to this and that. And I'm like, listen, let's be reasonable now. I can't give away a helmet, they're pretty expensive. But yeah, I'm reaching, I believe I'm like 500 followers away from 100K on TikTok. And you know what's funny with Instagram and Facebook? Instagram, I used to put content there too. So like for every 4 videos I was putting on TikTok, I put one on Instagram. Facebook, not so much, because I wanted to keep that like for myself, for like my family, my friends, for like little stupid things that I like to post. But I started putting videos and Facebook started taking off. So I'm like, well now I have to, you know, make it like a creator page too, like TikTok. So on Facebook, I think I just passed 46,000 there, and on Instagram, I just passed 30,000.
So take me back to the beginning. When did you really start this, and when did you realize that it was starting to take off and might really be something?
Yeah, you know, I thought it was taking off when I had 5,000 followers. I remember messaging my family like, oh my God, I got 10K, and you know, so it's now it's like, and it's funny, I'll get messages or like I'll follow somebody back, like a random person, and they'll message me like, oh my God, thank you for following me. You know, it's a privilege, or I'm honored, and I'm like, I'm just a regular person that just makes content. But you know, it's something that I started just posting, you know, like even like back in the day, like in 2015, I used to wear the GoPros. Now granted, the cameras weren't as good as they are now. So it was just finding the right camera, finding the right mounts, right angles, and I had to play with that a little bit. And it's just something I like doing. I remember like my first year back riding in 2020, I got this mount and I put my phone on it. And as soon as the horse turned to gallop, knocked the phone right out. I lost the phone, so I'm like, oh, that's not gonna happen no more. So
those are expensive.
Yeah, and then I couldn't find it. And then when I found it, it was squashed.
Of
so
course.
I had to get a real camera. But yeah, you know, just little by little, by being consistent and posting content every day. And you have to be a little vulnerable too, because for every 90 good comments I get, I'll get 10 negative ones, and you know, like the Monday morning quarterback. So you have to be a little vulnerable. And honestly, I stopped caring like what people think, because a lot of people, you know, for the most part, it is good comments and it is a lot of good feedback, but you'll have, you know, a handful of people that message me and say I shouldn't do this, or why am I doing this? And, you know, at that point, like right now, I can't, I try to respond to every comment, but now I can't. It's so hard. I spend hours just reading comments some days. So
one of the most interesting things, now I'm a horse person, but I've never galloped on the racetrack. I've never ridden a race, and you do such an incredible job of explaining the what you're doing and the why you're doing, and you give viewers a real bird's eye view of what it's like to gallop or ride in a race. One of the things I found in a video several months ago when you were explaining about getting a lead change, and you ask for a lead change very differently than we do in horse show land. It's a very different thing, and getting that perspective was so interesting. I think the way you're able to transcend from racing world to pleasure riders and other kind of disciplines has been really key to making racing more approachable to people that don't know anything about it.
Very true. You know, I feel like most of my followers are not like horse racing industry people, which I think is great. But I think there's a little disconnect when I get comments and questions like, hey, in a canter, like, how do you change leads? And I'm like, well, wait, we don't really canter that much. And to be honest, I've never ridden any horse, I should say this, I've never ridden outside the racetrack. I'm dying to just like pleasure ride and just chill and trail ride, and when I tell people that I've never been on a pony before, I've only been on racehorses.
Really?
Yeah.
And you have such a natural, I mean this in such a complimentary way, you have such a natural feel and an understanding of the horse. I would have always assumed that you learned to ride in a different way.
No, I learned the hard way. I will say this, the first horse that I did learn on, he had just came off the racetrack, and it was like at a farm for like a month, and I just learned to do figure eights. I mean, if you count that as a pony, I mean, but
no.
Then, yeah, well,
no.
all right, well then I'd never been on a pony. And then my dad's like, you're ready. You know, I was at a farm for a month, like mucking stalls.
Gosh, you just jumped right into the deep end, didn't you?
Yeah, the first horse I got on in the racetrack ran off of me.
I bet.
The 10-year-old, he took off because he knew I didn't know what I was doing. So, like I said, I learned the hard way for sure.
I never would have guessed that. And what an interesting thing to be able to share with people, to also let them understand that just because you haven't done something doesn't mean you can't do it.
Very true, very true. I started at a late age too. People think that I've been riding or I've been in this game for years, and at least for me, I started probably when I was like 19, almost turning 20, and I grew up in the city. I didn't know anything about horses. I was terrified of, as soon as I seen them, I'm like, well, I'm not doing this. And even the first few times I rode, I'm like, well, I'm definitely not coming back. But
what made you keep coming back?
I don't know. That's a good question. It was something about horses. Like the first time I was on a horse, literally, it was in a Shedderoo, New York, and the horse ran off, and I fell. And then I'm like, I waited a few months. My dad's like, just try it again. And then when I came back, I tried to learn like the right way from the ground up. I started to be around them more, like, walking them, and then, doing the stalls, and even like, the figure eights in the arena with that one horse, I forget his name. And then it just became something that I loved, and it became something that I didn't think of as work. So, yeah.
Now, in your videos, the thing that I'm always struck by is the respect you do show to the horses, that even when they are getting a little bit strong or a little bit tough, you never lose your temper, you never lose your cool, and I think you treat them like someone who really loves them. So tell me, at the end of the day, it's all about the horse for you.
It really is, and I think I said this in one video, the way I am in those videos, even if I wasn't recording, I'm the same exact way, and I talk to them the same way. I feel like I've always been like that. So yeah, listen, the horse always comes first, and they have to. So I can never get mad if a horse is acting up or being tough, because in reality, that's what we train them to do, is to run fast, and that's what they're bred to do too. Now, granted, I'll get a little impatient with certain horses that are nasty, and I ride a couple, little nasty, I wouldn't say nasty, but little feisty fillies, that give me a hard time. But all in all, I feel like I could just never get mad at the horse, no matter what they do. So, it's a privilege to ride, I feel like,
And what are some things that horses have taught you over the years?
A lot of patience. Definitely a lot of patience. They definitely keep you humble, they keep you honest, And just when you think you know it all, something happens where you're like, oh wait, I don't know it all. So it definitely brings you back. And you never stop learning around horses, I get a lot of comments like from people that don't understand the industry. So they ask me, how many horses do I have? And I'm like, well, technically I'm a jockey, and I get hired from trainers, but I know I'm gonna end up training horses. I love riding. I feel like I'm never gonna stop riding. I think when I do make that transition to become a trainer, I'll be one of them trainers that probably gallop their own horses, just because I love doing it. But I know I'll end up probably training horses. When? I don't know. I want to ride races for as long as I can, but yeah, eventually I want to train.
And the rigors of being a jockey can take such a toll, both physically and mentally, and stepping into a trainer role is a way to be able to enjoy your life maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, no, because I know trainers that it's like an all-day thing, you know, like you gotta take the good with the bad, because I feel like as a jock, right, I come to work, I ride my races, but then I go home.
Sure.
Like
sure.
I jump off the horse and
Done.
that's it. Yeah, the horse is like somebody else's. They're under the care of the trainer and groom now. So as a trainer, it's gonna be an all-day thing. Like I'm under no illusion that it's gonna be easy or anything like that.
Less time in the hot box, though.
I can't wait. I know. I have a lot of weight issues because I'm taller, and now that I'm getting older, for the most part, it's not too bad. But like, if I'm not riding every day, like I'll easily go up to like 125, 126. So yeah, I'm waiting for that too. As soon as I stop riding, I'll probably jump up to like 150, 160. I wouldn't be surprised.
And that's also okay. Now, as your TikTok has continued to take off, I've seen quite a few folks jump on the bandwagon and make TikToks and content of their own, which I think it's great, the more positive eyes on racing.
Yeah.
But do you watch some of those and go, well, imitation is the most sincere form of flattery?
I do. At first, I felt some sort of way. I'm like, oh, well, look, I started doing it, you start. But in reality, you know, I feel like I got to take a step back, and it's great for our sport. So no matter how I look at it, it's going to be more attention, good attention and good light to our sport. So I have to take that as a positive. And like you said, imitation is the best form of, you know, it's a compliment almost. Yeah. And I do get a lot of messages, what camera, and I'll tell them, but some people go beyond. They're like, where do you mount it and how do you use it? I'm like, come on now, I'm not gonna.
Gotta figure it out yourself.
I can't do it for you. You know? I'll tell you what camera it is. But no, it's all good. You know, I feel like it's good for our sport. But I will say, you gotta be consistent though. I have probably 30 to 50 videos that I haven't even edited yet, and I try to post a video every day, whether that's on Facebook, TikTok, or Instagram, and you have to switch it up too. You know, I feel like the thing with my videos is I explain things. I try to explain things to like a normal civilian, like if they don't know anything about horse racing. And I'm starting to see like the results, because almost every racetrack I'm riding at now, I'll have a fan or two come out and say, hey, I'm from TikTok, or hey, I love your TikTok. So it's definitely bringing more attention to our sport.
And what's one message you'd like to give to folks at large about horse racing that maybe they don't know?
It's a great sport. You know, it really is. I feel like we don't get as much attention as some other sports, but if you really think about it, in the 60s and 70s and even like the 50s down below, horse racing was huge. I mean, there were jockeys on Sports Illustrated covers. Like, jockeys were like Hollywood stars. So, you know, it's such a great sport. And I feel like a lot of people are uneducated or assume that we abuse animals or we force them to run. So I feel like it's our job to educate them. And more than ever with me now that I have some type of platform, I feel like it's my job almost to educate people about horse racing. And, you know, there's certain videos I'll show them the stick, you know, the crop, and let them know that we're only, you know, allowed to use it 6 times. It's kind of like a Nerf material. And that they love running. You know, that's one of the main reasons why I started making the content, because I wanted to show how much love, how much care goes into these horses. You know, it's not like they're just cooped up here and we don't care about them. Like, I think a trainer said the other day, you know, these horses get better care than most humans, and they really do. You know, now granted, there's a few bad apples in every sport, every business, but for the most part, you know, at least the horses I get on, they're really well cared for. So. And
it shows. Now, where can folks find you?
They can find me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Moya Rides Races. And I only have one page, so there's a lot of fake pages apparently.
That's a real sign that you've started to make it when people start impersonating you. So go find the real Ramon Moya on social media. Thank you for the time, and keep it going.
Thank you, guys.